Welcome back to another school year, ladies and gentlemen. We got the 2023-2024 athletic season about to get underway with the football team taking on Creekside down in Georgia in their opener. So without further ado, let's talk prep athletics.
Floater too strong. Rebound tapped around. The three to win the game. No good. And Prep survives. The Marauders have won their first sectional championship since 2014. In the air to right field. Going back is Infante. He makes the play. And St. Peter's Prep retains its glory on the diamond. The Marauders are your 2023 Hudson County Tournament champions.
Wow, unbelievable turnover.
Jude Sargent.
Here's Jude with 9. With 8. With 7. Sargent scores!
In the gun, they'll give it to Giles. Makes the first man miss into the end zone. Touchdown!
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode number 119, the first of the 2023-2024 season. Sponsored, as always, by our good friends at D1 Media Pro. They're not only the number one live stream in New Jersey. We always say that, right? We always say that. But
Yeah, always.
But they're the number one in the country, in my opinion. You know, they go down to North Carolina. They do some of the football games this year. You see Kevin Connolly, Justin Penik, the dynamic duo for D1 Media Pro. But we'll also have a lot of soccer coverage this year, which is going to be the first for us, which will be fantastic. Basketball and even baseball games. We might even do some wrestling. Maybe some wrestling. Maybe. Which would be nice.
Maybe.
You know, maybe we even do some hockey.
Maybe.
You know, maybe some hockey.
Maybe we should do some hockey.
Yeah. So make sure you guys follow them all season round, even all year round for all 3 seasons on the NFH Network with the link nfhsnetwork.com. Again, that's nfhnetwork.com. Search D1 Media Pro to watch any game you want for a minimum fee of either $11.99 a month, which I know many of you guys are saying it's a lot of money, but you know I pay $79.99 a year, which you get everything exclusive. So
Yeah.
so 40% off retail price. You got all the games you do for the State of Marauders Club. So make sure you sign up today. So without further ado, I am Renato Rodrigues of the class of 2010, also the moderator of the State of Marauders Club, alongside some very special guests we got here today who will talk some football with us as we get closer and closer to the start of the football season. So to my right here, we have Ignacio Marro right across from me. To my right on this side, we have Ben Novosyolok, who is the student club president. And we got Jackson Briamonte as well. So, guys, welcome in. How are we feeling today?
Feeling
Pretty
great.
good.
I'm
Really
excited
good.
for this year in sports for prep. I think it'll be an interesting season. A little change in dynamics compared to other years, but I think looking forward to it.
Happy to be back. You know, it's been a minute. We haven't done anything for this all summer, so
I know,
It's
I think-
good for us to all be back together
It's
again.
been a
I think
while.
Ben and I did the last episode for the awards show way
Yeah.
back going in June. So
Yeah, we did
it's-
that a while ago.
Yeah, it's great to be back. And, you know, before we start talking about the football year in particular, we had some quick news to talk about. So let's play that intro for the news of the week. The baseball team is going to be celebrating Coach Laguerre's 400th career victory with a golf outing, all right? So we have the information on the screen there to share with you guys. So make sure you click on that link for all the information in regards to the golf outing. In other news, we're also new to Patreon, which is a very good subscription service that I will do with updates. You get the podcast, this podcast, a day before everybody else gets it. So you get to hear all nice, beautiful voices before. And you know, you always get to see the fall schedules. You know, we have soccer, wall polo. We'll show you guys a football one later on. But again, make sure you sign up today. It's $2 a month to help out with the club. So not too much, right, guys? Not too much.
No, I think that's very reasonable.
Yeah.
Yeah. So support us today on Patreon by going to patreon.com/State of the Marauders. All right. So guys, let's talk about last year's football team as a whole. So the team went 7-4 last year, right? They went to the quarterfinals. The offense was great, right? They scored 34 points a game. defense, allowed 30 points a game. They lost to Derby in the quarterfinals. So what did you guys think of the season as a whole last year? And Ben, we'll start off with you.
Yeah, so I thought it was a very up and down season to start. I mean, we started off first Battle of the Beach. We crushed St. Augustine, and then we fell in a very terrible way, I would say. I mean, we allowed 50 points against St. Joe's Prep of Philadelphia.
I mean, listen, mind you, St. Joe's Prep is the top 10 team in the country.
Right now, they're ranked number 10 this year, and we will get to them again when we talk about this year. But last year, it was not a good sight. And then afterwards, they had some decently convincing victories. I believe their game against DePaul Catholic was their best well-rounded game.
I agree with that. 100%.
And even then, in the third quarter, DePaul was leading. I think it was a very up and down season. And yes, we did get our bragging rights over Seton Hall Prep by beating them, but we dropped terribly at MetLife to Don Bosco. We beat Paramus Catholic. We dropped 70 points on Paramus Catholic, but they also were able to get 45 points on us. And it was more of the same story against Notre Dame in the playoffs. And then we just fell to Del Barton in the quarterfinals. And, I mean, full credit to Ryan Trafford, who is going to be one of the top players on the team once
Ryan
again.
Trafford's so good.
Navy lacrosse commit. Not even a football commit, but a lacrosse commit.
It doesn't matter where he's going to school.
Exactly.
He's a damn good running back.
Very
damn good running back.
But I think there are a lot of pieces that are returning, and we will talk about that as well. And I think it's going to be a very young team, and there are going to be some growing pains. So
right. So the one growing pain is the quarterback position, right?
Yeah.
You got Tyler Bill was the backup last year as a freshman, mind you guys, right? He was the backup as a freshman last year. Now coming to the sophomore year, first year starting, it's going to take him some time, I think, in order to make sure he gets acclimated to the offense. He looked really good at some 7-on-7 plays early on this year. I'm interested to see how he develops, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, like you said, he's a young quarterback. He's new. Well, not new. He was a backup last year, but I think, like you said, it's just going to be hard at the beginning. He's going to have growing pains. It's going to be tough. We have a tough schedule at the beginning. We're going to play St. Joe's Prep.
I think very tough schedule all around.
Very tough.
We don't know a ton about Creekside. We just know that they're a good school. We're playing them. They're legit. DePaul's going to be tough as well. Delby, it's going to be a rematch with the playoffs. I think it's going to be a hard first half of the season. And St. Joe's, of course. But I think Tyler will, throughout the season, just keep getting better and better. I think it'll lead up to another 2 years of greatness for him. But I think the games like Paramus Catholic and Seton Hall are really going to be games for him to showcase his skill.
I'm also curious about Jalen Klein as well. He split carries with Isaiah Giles last year. He should be the main focus of the offense this year, running the ball, especially with the young quarterback. So, Jackson, what do you think about Jalen Klein and his potential in his offense?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like you said, he did split carries with Giles last year, but he still came out with 974 yards.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah. So if you think about, you can get much more. You could have probably a 1,500-yard season. This is going to be a big year for him. He's going to have a much different role where he's going to have to be taking almost every snap, doesn't get that break when he needs it. And like we said, Tyler Bell's a young quarterback. He's trying to get himself in the system and play good in that system, so he might rely more on the run game at first, and that'll benefit Jalen Klein a lot. So I think this is definitely going to be a big year for him, big breakout season.
Right, and then other guys we want to talk about, Hassan Moore is going to be that main wide receiver this year. We had Kenyon Massey last year, transferred this year to Paramus Catholic, but he broke all kinds of records, right? He broke, I think it was the touchdown single season record, 13 touchdowns, 933 yards receptions. Kenyon Massey was really, really good. Going to Paramus Catholic now, but I think Hassan Moore is ready to take over that number one wide receiver spot, and he's going to be very dangerous to me in the state of New Jersey.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he had 26 receptions with 431 yards and 4 touchdowns as a number 3 receiver. Right?
Yeah.
Number 3 behind Zion and Kenyon. I mean, that's great for a wide receiver 3.
Yeah.
Great.
I absolutely think that he can adapt to the wide receiver 1 position.
Yeah, I mean, I think he can be a great contributor, and I think the depth at the wide receiver position it's in a very good place because wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2, they're both seniors, Hassan Moore and Dallas Reese. But I think after that is where it really opens up, and there's some very young guys. Andres Perez, he's a track star. He's an All-American track star, so we know he can run very well, and his speed is great. And he had that one great touchdown. I believe it was against DePaul, where I think it was like a 70-plus yard reception for a touchdown. And then we have DJ Brown and Hunter Watson, and they're both, I believe, going into their sophomore years. Yeah.
DJ's going to be a junior.
Yeah, GJ's going to be a junior. Hunter's going to be a sophomore. They're both getting some college interest. I know Hunter already has a couple offers already by I believe Boston College and Kent State and Akron, but I think the wide receiver position is in a very good spot. We got 2 years of Jalen Klein, who I think is going to be phenomenal.
Yeah, I'm expecting a big year out of him for sure.
Yep, and I think on the defensive end as well.
Well, before we go into
before we go into the defensive end,
like last year's offense was so dynamic with Champ at quarterback. It was so good. I know Tyler Bell's gonna get going, but I think the speed of this offense will still be there, right, guys?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's still gonna be there. So I'd see if Prep wants to win these games early on, especially against Creekside, right? Against DePaul. We'll talk about more of the schedule in just a bit. But these early games at Del Barton, you're going to need your offense to step up in a big way. And I think, the speed of this offense, you're going to get points, right? They scored 34 points a game last year. I think you can definitely get some points for sure.
Yeah, realistically, I think this season, it's a bold statement, but realistically, this season, I think, is on quarterback play. Because you have the weapons. You have the running back. You have the O-line. You have the wide receivers that we were just talking about. I think it's just up to Tyler Bell. If he could perform, I think he can. I really believe in him. I think that he'll be a great quarterback.
I do too.
I mean, he got a year of training under Champ Long, and Champ Long was the type of quarterback where he could hand it off to Jalen Klein or Isaiah Giles. He could throw absolute missiles to Zion and Kenny, and he could take off and run when he needed to, and he could go in for the touchdown and get a little physical, and he's not afraid to get hit. And I think he should have transferred some of that over to Tyler Bell, maybe taught him a couple things. I think Tyler Bell's really going to grow into his own this year, and we're gonna have 3 years of him if he stays. I hope he stays.
Yeah,
but I think we're gonna get 3 years of him, and it's gonna get better season after season, in my opinion.
And he's just getting started. Like we said, he's an incoming or rising sophomore, and he's just got a lot of time to grow. And what we've seen in the preseason, he's had a very good preseason. I guess you could say there might have been some doubters to other people, but I think he's proving everyone wrong. I think he really has the chance to go out there and be what Champ was. Just that really, really good leader, well-respected, very versatile, where, like you said, he can throw the ball, you can hand it off, but he can also run.
Right.
Champ could rush a little bit.
Yeah.
And, I mean, Tyler's mobile like that, too. So I think Tyler's really in a good position where he can almost mimic what Champ did and then just do it better each year for the next 3 years.
Yeah.
Go
and
ahead.
I think we're not talking about the O-line as much as we should. They're one of the most important positions on the entire field. I mean, we got Cooper LaFond. He's going to Fordham.
Yeah, you
got
got X.
Steven. Yeah, we got X. We got Xavier Miles. We got Steven Lazama, Merrimack commit. So we got a pretty big O-line. I would say, again, still one of the biggest O-lines. I know we lost Eric King and Nick Schoen and Amar Awad, but I think we still got a very good offensive line. I think Jalen Klein is going to have enough time to move, and they're going to have enough time to open up the holes. I think they're going to give Tyler Bell more than enough protection in the pocket so that he can be able to have the time to make the passes. And I would say the biggest weakness on this offense is just the receivers and not their skill. I'm not going to say their skill, but
I was about to say they have very good skill.
yeah, no, they've great skill. When we look at them in height, I think there's a big difference.
Yes.
I mean, we're looking at Zion Fowler from last year. He was what 6'1", 6'2", 180, 190 pounds. Like he was like that is the prototypical wide receiver.
I think it's more the inexperience.
Yeah.
I'd say more experience than anything
That's
because
the
you still got Dallas Reese, who's a really tall guy too. So I think Dallas Reese will fill that Zion role this year to get those deep passes. Got Hassan Moore, DJ Brown. I'm just putting on those slot
I mean,
receivers.
I think it's going to be on experience and on the height. I mean, we look at all the top wide receivers.
And always the health, right?
Yeah,
the health, offensive
always.
line. Like, if you got to stay healthy, right? It's a tough season. You got a lot of games. The bye week doesn't come until week, I think that's 6, right?
Between games 6 and 7.
Yeah, so that's week 6 on the schedule. So you got a lot of games, a lot of tough sledding before then. So,
Yeah.
Going back to what you said about like the weakness being the height. I mean, someone like Hassan Moore, who is on the shorter side, his athleticism makes up for that. He is crazy athletic.
he does. He made that one-handed catch last year against
I was
Bergen.
about to bring that up. Like, that's a good example of he made the catch that, maybe like a Zion, it would just be like a simple little jump cut. He fully went up there and
Right.
pulled it down. I think his athleticism
Yeah.
really makes up for his height, and he has the heart. He has the grit. Like
yeah.
he's very determined. I mean, I see him out there all the time. Like before lacrosse practice and football off season, he's out there. He's going hard, and then when it's done, I always see Tyler, Hassan, Andres, like all the receivers out there with Tyler, and they're still getting extra reps. So they're all definitely very determined to really have a very good year for them.
Yeah, I mean, and I think for the seniors, especially on this prep team, they went through a lot. I mean, I'm in that same boat. I'm a senior too. We came in. It was the middle of 2021, of 2020. Like COVID was still.
Yeah.
We were in the middle of a pandemic. Our freshman year, they barely got any football in. I barely got we didn't even get school and football in because we were half in, half out with virtual learning as well. We come into sophomore year and they don't really get a chance to shine yet. I think they had their moments in their junior years, and unfortunately in their junior years it came to a lot of guys transferring out of our school. And I think now is their time to step up and shine and really take control of this team and steer it in the right direction for the future class years.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that they shouldn't look at this transferring as like a bad thing. It just opens up new opportunities.
Exactly.
For this team, in my opinion. It's new opportunities to shine, to get looked at by colleges, just to prove everyone wrong.
Exactly, yeah. And I think it's going to be a really good year offensively for the Marauders. It might start off slow. Again, we've all agreed on that. I think I'm going to give it 3 games, especially, and we'll talk about this in depth.
Yeah, we'll talk about the schedule a
but
little bit,
when you're playing a top 10 team in the country, I think it's going to be a little tough. So I'll give it until after the DePaul game for Tyler Bell to really start clicking.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so we'll talk about the schedule just a bit, but now let's flip over to the defensive side. You know, they had London Robinson last year, who was a home run wrecker.
Oh, yeah.
All the time, right? But don't worry, we still got Joe Assign, right? He had 85 total tackles last year, 20.5 tackles for loss, 6 sacks. And I'm telling you guys, I watched this guy in the offseason. He looks like a home run wrecker 2.0.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason he's going to Stanford on a full ride.
Right.
And he's joining a lot of New Jersey players. A lot of them are leaning towards Stanford. You got Micah Ford, he's the number 1 player in New Jersey. You got Cam Richardson, who transferred away from Prep. I believe he's now at Irvington. There's now, I believe, a player on Red Bank Catholic. And I think New Jersey, a lot of them are deciding to go to Stanford. And Stanford wants guys like this. He's ginormous. I've been in class with him for 3 years. He's ginormous. He's massive. He makes me look small. I mean, 6 sacks it has a lot to show, especially with
on the other
London
side of
Robinson.
London, right?
Exactly. On the other side of London Robinson, I expect that number to grow a lot.
Definitely.
I expect Xavier Miles to grow.
Right, he's
He
going
has
2 ways
17
this year.
offers. Yeah,
so
he's going 2 ways.
Yeah.
He has 17 offers. I mean, we'll see which college he chooses, of course, but I think also linebacking is a little hole. I believe that we've agreed on.
Yeah, but still got some
But
good guys.
we have some
guys.
very good players.
We got some Bailey, Marvell
Yeah.
Davis. You know, we got some good guys there. But again, how did the defense allow points last year? Running the ball, running up the middle, right?
Yeah.
So the linebacking core is very, very important for this Marauder defense this year. If they're able to stabilize that linebacking core, I think you're going to see a very good prep team this year, even get a better record than they did last year.
Yeah, I mean, also another thing is the secondary.
Right.
A lot of secondary.
And the
players
secondary
transfer
guys
out.
they've always been good for this team, right?
Yeah.
In particular, right, you had guys who are coming into like their first year, like a Kyron Grayson, like a Dante Copeland, right? Guys who we never even heard of really, but they've been making their mark on these 7-on-7 scrimmages and in regular scrimmages as well. They're gonna be guys that I think we want to look out for. Sahaj Bennett as well as another guy.
Yeah.
Also from LIU.
Yeah, I mean, we also got Sam Bartozak. He's a defensive end from
Right,
Hudson
Hudson Catholic transfer, yeah.
Hudson Catholic transfer.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's
Hassan Moore is doing goal more for us as well.
Hassan Moore is going to be
Yeah.
a safety.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be very interesting. The secondary. I mean, the secondary last year,
It was good.
it was good.
good.
It was good. I mean, besides the,
Come on, yeah, Jaden Bonsu.
Yeah,
Come on.
We had Jaden Bonsu
on.
playing hybrid safety
on.
linebacker. Our corners were pretty good. Omari Gaines was pretty
Yeah.
good. But I think also what we lacked last year was interceptions. We didn't have any.
Yeah,
We
the
had
turnovers. Yeah,
Omari Gaines had one, and I believe Samad Bailey had one, and that was about it. Like
yeah, the turnovers definitely.
that was
Yeah.
was something glaring on the stat sheet the whole year. We couldn't get a single pick.
Yeah, and like
Could not get picked.
even like the turnover battle. If you win the turnover battle, right, you get good field position for offense, you get those points, and then things are clicking, right?
Exactly.
So you want to increase on those turnovers this year for sure.
That's where it lacked last year, where we needed points to score. The defense just couldn't. They could get a stop, they
Right.
get a punt, but that field position, like you said, is really, really
Right.
crucial.
And they
Yeah,
couldn't
just
get the
to
ball
win
to the
games.
offense. They stay on the field for such a long time. They would
Exactly.
lose a time possession battle.
Yeah, and they were getting so tired that at the end of it they were just dead at that point.
You know who's an expert on time possession battle?
Who?
This special guest we're gonna have coming on right now.
Oh,
All right, so we're gonna have State of the Marauders Hotline, sponsored by the #1 podcast. Not me, of course, but which podcast, guys?
Chalk Talk
Chalk
Podcast.
Talk podcast. Talk about the Chalk Talk podcast.
Chalk Talk Podcast. Me and Jackson, we've been running it for just a little bit. I've been running it for probably 5 years or so, but it kind of got rebranded recently by me and Jackson. Had some good guests on, just really hot takes, just arguing, bickering. Just an exciting sports podcast, kind of new, fresh.
Yeah, it's a fun time. On Spotify, Chalk Talk Podcast, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube soon. We talk big in sports. I guess that's like the obvious, but we have the hot take segment where it's just find something that you think is gonna make the other person mad and then argue about it, and it makes for good content.
So let's listen in to the interview we had with Justin Penik of the class of 2016 and the co-host of Talkin Giants.
Today we're here with Talkin Giants, Justin Penik. How are you today?
Doing good, you guys. How are you?
I'm great. Great to have you on.
So we've got our interview segment right here with Justin, Talkin Giants. How we doing?
I'm doing good. I'm really excited for prep football this year. Different year, a lot of new faces, some new opponents on the schedule too. So we're gonna get into it. Let's do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of just the new year in general, what are some players to watch in your opinion?
Yeah, starting with the quarterback, I know you guys probably talked about Tyler Bell all through the preview, but didn't see a lot of action last year. I think 16 attempts that he had last year, but he looked comfortable. I think that was even the main thing, just from his limited action that he got last year. Looked comfortable. Was a guy that I heard a lot last year that even though he had Champ Long at quarterback, this Tyler Bell, this freshman, this is a guy that the program really likes, and he's going to take the reins as a sophomore. So I'm excited to see him. I'm excited to not only because football is a very unique sport where baseball, you have your high school season, but you're playing year round. There's opportunities to travel here and there, and even locally, you can play year round. Football, you can do camps, but you don't really get to replicate what you see on Fridays and Saturdays for high school football. So the main thing with Tyler Bell is, you've done all the passing camps, you look good in shorts, but when you get out there in pads and when you got, big people kind of trying to take your head off and hit you a little bit, how are you going to look and how are you going to adjust to that too? So I'm really excited to see Tyler Bell out there. Cooper LaFont, who's our left tackle. I'm sure you again talked about him a little bit in the preview, but he's a big dude. Apparently he's really been working on his technique and technical aspects of his game this offseason. He was kind of brand new to football, and now he's getting more experience, and he's going to be hopefully anchoring that offensive line down. Second most important and valuable position in the game of football, being that left tackle. And obviously you're going to need a lot of guys on defense to step up after last year, having some difficulty and having some trouble stopping the run and, allowing more points than what a St. Peter's Prep defense is comfortable with. So they're certainly going to have to step up there too. Absolutely.
Speaking on last year's team, what's one thing that you'd like to see this 2023 team do that last year's team did not do?
Yeah, stop the run. I've never seen a prep defense kind of have the difficulty of stopping the run that they had. Whether that's the guys up front, the linebackers, and I'm sure this could even go into a question that you guys have. I think the linebackers and the interior linebackers specifically, an underrated and an valued position in the game of football. But I feel like for this St. Peter's Prep defense specifically, so important to how this defense is going to operate this year and how those linebackers, can they step up, fill the gaps and fill the holes that, the interior defensive line, if they're going to be clogging up, and if those guys aren't going to be making those plays, you need your linebackers to clean everything up. So I feel like the linebackers and, their overall play and this defense in general, how they stop the run this year is so important, because you will have, especially at the high school game, if there's going to be a team that's going to look at you and say, I want to run the ball, 30 times in a game, 40 times in a game, every single play, they're going to do it. And if we can impose our will and we can get 5-yard, 6-yard chunks every single play, there's going to be teams that are going to do it. And I want Prep to kind of, recover from their inability to kind of do that last year.
For sure. I guess kind of going off like last year's team, what would be, in the years that you've watched Prep football, followed it, what would be your favorite team that you've watched through all the years? Yeah,
I mean, whenever this is simple, but I graduated 2016. I came here in 2012, and seeing Brandon Winbush and Minka Fitzpatrick rock and roll for a couple years was really fun. And really, I knew Minka as like an offensive player and as a receiver, and then obviously he went into Alabama as a safety and as a corner, and then he's kind of like transitioned from like nickel corner and corner to safety in the NFL too, which has been really cool to see how his career has gone and how it's really skyrocketed with the Pittsburgh Steelers. But I mean, those two guys were the number one and number two, like two main sources of explosive plays on offense when they were together too. I saw a little bit of John Hillman too, and he was with my Giants for a little bit. So those teams in the early 2010s were, and some of the teens years, they were really, really fun. And really, we're known for being explosive on offense, and just having those big plays, explosive plays on offense. And that's what I've known as like a St. Peter's Prep fan every single year of watching this team, is that the offense, even if the defense these last couple of years hasn't been up to par, the offense has been super explosive and super fun.
Absolutely. Judging on that, these evolutions of players, who's one player that you could like see throughout? So we're talking about Tyler Bell.
Yeah.
You said he looked okay in like the game last year. He played against Notre Dame. Do you think he has the potential to be an all-time Prep good quarterback?
Yeah, I mean,
top quarterback.
A lot of it does depend on circumstances and how your line holds up, and if the line can hold up and give you time and really show off that arm, and you get Hassan Moore running deep down the field, you get Andres Perez, who's a track star, running deep down the field. Can those guys really come down with those balls? I mean, we know that they've had some transfers and they've had some guys graduate, so the receiving corps overall just isn't fully the same. But for Tyler Bell, I think he has the tools. I mean, I think he has the mobility. He has the athleticism. Tyler Bell was doing track even last spring too, seeing some clips of him doing that. So he has the athleticism to improvise and extend plays if he needs to, which is so key at the quarterback position these days. He seems like he's got the arm, and it seems like he's really putting in the time and putting in the work to develop the mental aspect of the game too, which quarterback it's so key. So it's going to depend on that line holding up. It's going to depend on how his skill position players can get open for him, and if they got the horses and the tools to get open down the field, so we can create some big plays.
For sure. Like you talked about it before, where the big thing this year is stopping the run game. Mm-hmm. So you said linebackers, specifically interior linebackers, are they're the most important position you think this year. What would you say would be like another, maybe offense? What is the most important position offensively, and your favorite position that you want to watch this year, both sides of the ball?
Yeah, so I mean, I'll stick with receivers. Hassan Moore has been a guy who I've loved watching throughout the years, and I'm even saying to myself, it's like I want to see Hassan Moore get a little bit more run, because he makes some spectacular catches, some one-handed catches, some highlight-worthy plays, and he even has a lot of potential with the ball in his hands afterwards, where he has some juice and he has some shake to him yards after the catch ability. So I'm excited to see how these receivers, who together they don't really have a lot of experience together. They have no experience, kind of in game with Tyler Bell, really, with him throwing the ball. Dallas Reese, Andres Perez is part of that too. DJ Brown, limited action last year, 6 catches last year, but big plays, 102 yards and a touchdown last year. So I'm really excited for these guys to come together, and especially with Tyler Bell and how talented he is. But especially Hassan Moore, Hassan Moore has gone from very quickly being the young guy in the room and always being the young guy in the room, and now boom, snap of a finger, he's the veteran of the room, and he's the guy that's leading them all.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. I mean, these are all some great points that we've talked about this whole segment. So to wrap it up, I mean, I've got the Marauders going 5-4 this year.
Yeah.
Jackson's got to go 6-3 with a possible 7-2. You said that in the episode. What do you have the Marauders going this year, record or just like good to bad ratio?
Yeah, I would say 5-4. I think this is going to be a transition year, and every you see high schools go through this, you see colleges go through this. This is kind of going to be a transition year where you have so many guys that are going to D1 schools, the previous year, and now you have new guys coming in looking to prove themselves. So I'm thinking 5-4. But what's going to be really important for this prep team is if you get off to a slow, whether it's a fast start or a slow start, you can't get too high or you can't get too low. And that's something that I've seen some prep teams in years past. Like if you lose a game or you lose a little bit of momentum, you kind of got to have that short-term memory. You got to have that goldfish memory and just put it by you and then get ready for next Friday, get ready for next Saturday. So I'm excited for prep football. We're going to win some games this year. We're going to score some points. We're going to have a lot of fun.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. Thank you, Justin, for coming on. Enjoyed your time here. Thank you. Signing off. Jackson, Ignacio. Let's send it back to you, Mr. Rodriguez.
So, thank you, Iggy. Thank you, Jackson. Thank you, Justin Penik, for coming on and providing that interview for us. So now, we talked about the offense. We talked about defense. We could talk some special teams, right? You guys know a little bit about special teams. Mr. Aiden Lamb.
Yes.
My boy.
Live gang.
My boy.
I think he'll be taking over the kicker role this year. Adam Gadd taking over the punting role. So 2 new guys who are doing special teams this year. So what do you guys think?
Aiden Lamb. I'm very close with Aiden Lamb. He's one of my good friends, and I have all the faith in the world for him. Like, I believe in him fully. He is really dedicated to this, so I think he is bound to have a really good year at kicker. But yeah, like we said, it's a new role. I mean, he wasn't the starter last year, and he didn't get a lot of experience in it last year, but he's had a pretty good preseason. He does work at it every day, and I'm really expecting Aiden Lamb to have a very good year at kicker.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, all I ever see from Aiden Lamb on his socials is kicking. It's just the work. It's impossible to fail if you put in the work, and I believe that he's put in the work. I think he'll have a great season as kicker in his first year starting.
And the thing that's so cool about Aiden Lamb and Adam Gadd is that they're both products of the Crowman Kicking Company, which,
true.
Nico Duarte was a big part of that last year as well. So hopefully that camp could help them out. Special teams, I know maybe people don't like to talk about special teams. I'm a big proponent of special teams.
Part of the game.
It's very
Yeah,
important.
very important.
The field position battles talked about is very important on both sides of the ball. So getting those points, getting good field position, both offensively and defensively, very, very, very important. So now let's talk about the schedule, right?
Yeah.
The big schedule. We'll put that in a bit. So the first game we talked about, Creekside, Georgia, Morehouse College, Zone 6 Football Classic, August 26th. Man, this is probably two top 150 teams in the country, us and Creekside. It's gonna be an interesting battle. Creekside already played a game. They won, I believe, 35-26. So it's gonna be an interesting game. What are you guys seeing out of that game? Us Creekside, pretty even, right? Pretty even, you would say?
Yeah, I mean, so listen. It's an out-of-state team.
Out of state.
We're
going to Georgia, travel.
Yeah.
going to Georgia. There's obviously this film, but you don't know who they're playing against, really. It's really kind of an unknown void that we don't really know. Like, when we see our opponents, like Del Mar, they played Seton Hall. We know Seton Hall, their strength. When we play Creekside, we know that they've played well, let's say, against these teams. We don't know these teams. I think it's just going to be I think it's going to be a slow first quarter for both teams because they don't know how they're going to play against each
Right,
other.
I can see that.
But I think it'll be an electric performance. They're just going to go back and forth. I mean, I think it's going to be a shootout, to be honest.
And to be honest with you guys, looking at the schedule, this is, I know it's only week 0, but this is probably as close as must win as you can for the start of the season.
Yeah. I mean, I think this game, it's Tyler Bell's first varsity start.
Right.
It's a lot of people's first varsity starts, and it's going to be an interesting game. I think it's going to, like Iggy said, it's going to take a quarter for people to get settled, get ready, and then I think they're just going to start going off, and we'll be there on the live stream on our stream.
So we'll have a Twitch watch party. So join us there. We'll have the links of that on our social media profile on that.
Yeah. So I think it's. I don't know because I don't know Creekside. It's a coin flip. I don't know Creekside. I don't know who's good on. I don't know who's good on that team. I don't know who's bad on that team. I don't know the strength. I don't know the weaknesses. But I think apart from that, their second week is the toughest team on their schedule, and I think we can focus on that a little bit more than week 0. I think we could focus on week 1 going forward.
Yeah, so
a
they're
little bit
facing
more.
a top 10 team in the country, ladies and gentlemen. St. Joe's Prep, again, the rematch of last year, down in Delaware. I mean, oh, man. What can you say about St. Joe's Prep, man? They were so good offensively last year. Samaj Jones at quarterback, bringing back his weapons. Man, that's going to be a tough matchup for this Marauder team.
Are we going to this game?
Tough.
We going to this game?
No, we're doing another
We
Twitch
might.
party.
I don't know. We might. We don't know. We don't know. We'll take it 1 week at a time, Ben. 1 week at a time.
Yeah, come on, Ben.
But yeah, so those first two games, out-of-state opponents, that's going to be tough sledding. Then they're going to come back to New Jersey, another Zone 6 Classic, this time from the Hincliffe Stadium out of Patterson where the Jackals play. Zone 6 Classic taking on DePaul Catholic. And again, last year when we played DePaul, that was a great matchup by this Marauder team.
Yeah, I mean, I think I was at that game. You were at that game.
Oh, that was a great
That was
That
was
fun game.
Yeah, yes, that was a pink guy.
that was
Oh, wait,
Yep.
no,
Great game.
no,
I'm
no,
thinking
no,
of the Delby
no,
game.
no,
No.
That was Jersey night. That was
Oh,
Jersey night.
it was
That was
Jersey
Jersey
night.
night.
Yeah,
That was Jersey night. Yeah. The most well-rounded game for the Marauders, I think, last year, and I don't want to throw shade at the Marauders last year, but they didn't have many well-rounded games.
Yeah.
It was mostly they either.
I mean, they had
escaped-
an 8 or 9 sacks. I think Champa threw almost 40
Yeah,
yards.
no,
in that
but they
game.
but against Del Barton, they barely escaped. Against Seton Hall, it was I believe their second most well-rounded game, and against Paramus Catholic, it wasn't really well-rounded because the defense let up 45
Yeah, no, but I
points.
agree. I think the DePaul game last
Yeah,
year was the
I
most
think it was.
well-rounded.
I think it was the most well-rounded game, and that one is the most 50-50 game of the whole
Yeah,
season.
DePaul has gotten
besides
much better.
Creekside.
They've gotten much better.
They
in the
have
offseason.
Desi Jones. They
Yeah.
have Derek Zammit. I think those guys are going to absolutely light it up. Desi Jones is a 4-star wide receiver. I mean, he has offers from schools like Texas.
Wow.
He has some big name schools on the offer list. I think it's going to be very 50-50. I don't know much about their defense, and I think we're going to do a lot more pre-scouting when it comes closer to the date of
Yeah,
the game.
we'll have some games to watch by them.
Yeah.
But think about this, guys. These first 3 games, you got to go 2-1.
yeah,
Right?
Yes,
Yeah.
for sure.
because it's not going to get easier.
Right, because right after that, you got Del Barton, which
boy.
you might think, okay, it's Del Barton. They're not. I mean, you saw what happened last year in the quarterfinals, ladies and gentlemen. You saw what happened.
They're good.
Kingdom
They're
Boy.
good.
They're a very good team. Going into their house, their fans will be up and crazy about that. Then we come for our official home opener, Kingdom Point, to take on St. Joe's Montfield.
Oh boy.
The schedule does not get easier.
I mean, okay, last year's
beat 'em
last
last
year's game
year.
against St. Joe's Montville was historic. I don't think it's happening again this year.
Yeah, that was one of the greatest comebacks I've seen.
Yeah, I think now their QB last year was, I believe, in his first varsity season. He gets another shot this year.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
They also have
You got-
Yasin Willis.
That's what I'm saying. You got
They have
Yasin Willis. Like, come
they
on.
have Yasin Willis. He's going to Pitt. I mean, he's a
The
four-star.
guy's the
He's
top
amazing.
running back in the state for a reason.
Exactly,
The guy's good.
yeah.
And then St. Joe's always has the offensive line, dominating all
Yeah.
the time. So that's another tough game.
They
Another
had Jimmy
tough-
Mullen last year. Now he's at Virginia Tech.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to be another tough game. And then you go at Bosco, who many
my
people
God.
are picking to be in the state final this year. Again.
Although this today, NJ Athletics did post that their starting quarterback, or at least their projected starting quarterback
Jackson.
for next year, it transferred to West Orange.
Yeah.
We don't know. We don't know what's going to happen.
Listen,
They've an elite running back.
to me, listen again. The team, St. Joe's, Don Bosco, Bergens. The reason why these teams are so good, ladies and gentlemen, is the offensive line is really good.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, you need good quarterback play, of course you do. But with the
The offensive
offensive line of these guys,
Yeah.
and with the running backs they have, they can just run the ball all day.
Yeah.
They're tough.
And
We saw what happened last year. Chase Personas against Joe Asino. What happened?
yeah.
We saw what
Chase
happened.
Son has happened.
All right, he's really good.
And I think next is
It's a bye. We got bye week. We got bye week.
we got to buy a week. Rest
Yeah,
up,
relax.
practice up, practice up.
Relax.
And then we have Paramus Catholic at Paramus Catholic. I think that is a very winnable game.
That is.
Yeah.
But
That is a very winnable game. But
but-
Kenyon Massey's probably going to put up some incredible stat line just because to put in our
Absolutely.
faces.
But here's the thing about Primus Catholic, right? They got a lot of transfers you talked about. Kenny Massey being one of them.
Kai Moore.
Kyle Moore. Also, I don't know if you guys heard about this, the state ruling in terms of, the illegal transfer that happened. So the coach will not get a suspension. So the courts ruled that they're not get. So they're gonna have the coach throughout the whole year. So that's gonna be big for them because he's a new coach.
Yeah.
Getting that program acclimated. I'm gonna be premise. Maybe not this year, but next year, I think there'll be another force to be reckoned with in the state again.
They have been a force for a very long time. They've
I think they're
some
coming
very
back.
good NFL players. Rashawn Gary, Jabril Peppers. So some very, very good players have come from Paramus Catholic.
So don't sleep on Paramus.
No,
Don't sleep.
Don't
sleep on
I
them.
think this is another 50-50 game. They have Juan Minaya.
Yeah.
He's a UMass committed on the O-line. Again, O-line. That's extremely huge. He's going to Miami.
Yeah.
He's going to Miami. And then
Senior night.
Senior
Or
night
senior
against
day, rather.
Senior day.
rather.
Sorry, it's on a Saturday, so it's in the day. We got Bergen Catholic at home.
The defending
We're,
champions. number
we're
one
talking
seed.
about Joe Sign against Chase Pisanis last year. It's gonna be Joe Sign against Nair Daniels, the Georgia.
I'm excited for that matchup.
That's gonna be
I'm
fun.
excited
That
to
will be a
see
good
that
It's gonna be a
matchup.
very good matchup. But then they also got Kaj Sanders and Dom
They do like Kaj
Campanelli's
Sanders.
gonna come into his own
Yeah.
this year.
One person on Bergen that I think is a force to reckon with is their cornerback Naeem Parrish.
Oh, I love Nick.
He's good, man.
Good at basketball player as well. We saw him in the sectional finals.
I know Naeem. I used to play basketball with him, and he's already got a bunch of really good offers, such as Penn State, Duke, Syracuse.
And always Prep Bergen's always the classic rivalry matchup,
Classic.
right?
It's
Caden
classic.
Point, seeing it, it's gonna be electric at
Yeah.
Caden Point.
And
that day.
that game is also the second game that Prep is playing against a nationally ranked opponent. Max Preps has them in the 20s.
Yes.
Not as good as St. Joe's Prep, but I think they're still a phenomenal team, very well built. And then that brings into another, in my opinion, 50-50 game.
Another rivalry matchup too.
Another rivalry matchup, and this time it's against Ohio State cornerback Jalen McClain, who I believe is going to be on Hassan Moore the whole game.
That's gonna be no good.
That's
there's
gonna
so
be
many
a
good matchups to watch this year.
Matchups. Yeah.
So many good matchups.
If Hassan manages to do very well against an Ohio State commit, coaches are going to be calling.
I think he can.
I think he can.
Absolutely.
Also, cool thing about Seton Hall Prep, they open up their week 0 in Ireland against a school from Tennessee.
Yeah.
I just wanted to point that out. I thought that was really cool that they play overseas.
Two out-of-state opponents who are really good. And then you have 7, right? 7 in-state opponents who are all in the
Yeah,
top
they're all
20 in the
really
state,
good.
ladies and
Yeah.
gentlemen.
I mean, so are we. We're in the top 10.
Yes.
According to
Yeah,
NG.com.
I'm saying, but this year to me feels like the toughest year in
In a
non-public
in a
A
while.
Yeah.
in a long time.
Yeah.
I think anyone could come out of this conference. Anybody.
Yeah.
Anybody.
I have no clue.
Could be us.
Yeah.
Could be Delby, Bergen, Joe. It could be anybody.
Yeah.
It's anyone's game.
Yeah. And I mean, we can talk about our predicted records.
We're going to get to that.
Yeah, we're going to get to that. And I think that's going to show what we think of the team as a whole and just of the schedule as a whole. So we can get to that soon. When we
I think this year
What are you
is
thinking?
the most.
Yeah.
How I was saying, like anyone come out of the conference. This might be the most evenly matched year for all of us in the conference.
yeah,
where
I
we
agree.
can
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
at any point in the season, we can all take off and really
Heck,
be good
even
to come
Paramus
out of this.
Catholic. Even Paramus
sure.
Catholic.
For
Delby.
sure.
The amount of 50-50 games from week 2 onwards is insane. I think 50-50 games, DePaul, Del Barton, St. Joe's, I'm going to say that, Paramus Catholic, and Seton Hall Prep, that's 5 out of 7 games are 50-50.
Yeah.
In my opinion, I don't think they can hang with Bosco. I don't think they can hang with Bergen. I think
you-
that's established. But who knows? Again,
who knows?
Who honestly knows?
Any given Sunday, I'd like to say.
It's
Friday
crazy.
or
It's crazy.
Saturday.
This is the New Jersey non-public A. North is one of the toughest conferences in the country. This year.
Max
Again.
Peps always comes out with like the top 10.
Yeah, we're always on it.
We're always on there, but I think this year in particular, they're not in the top 5.
If they're not in the top 5,
toughest
that's
division in America,
insulting.
then I don't know
That's
what to tell you.
insulting.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I
Then
don't
that's
know what to tell you.
insulting.
All right, so let's talk about the predictions, guys.
Yeah.
Last part. Let's talk about
We'll
these predictions.
we'll start with you. We'll start with you.
All right, so we're gonna go through pretty much wins and losses, where we think wins losses could happen. My opinion, I think we beat Creekside. I think we start off.
Yep.
I think we go 1-0. I think we
I
go
don't-
down Creekside.
I hope I don't. We don't know about Creekside.
I watched them. I think we could beat them. I think we could beat them. I think we beat Creekside. St. Joe's Philly. I mean, it depends on how, but it depends how they come out of the game this week against IMG. Because I mean, they're playing
IMG Academy. That's
ESPN.
crazy.
That's gonna be a great
That's
game.
crazy.
Battle of the Beach, Ocean City. If you're interested in going. They're just number 10 in the country authorities. They're too good. They're too good. I'm putting that as a loss.
Yeah.
Putting that as a loss because St. Joe's is really good. St. Joe's Montville, I know 50-50 game. I know they got DePaul. I think if they beat DePaul, right? I think that's the next step, right? They beat DePaul. They're 2-1. They could. I don't want to say afford, but I think they really need to beat DePaul in order for this season to go the way they want to go.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's the most important game of the season.
Yeah, I think so.
Absolutely.
So I go a win for DePaul, losing to St. Joe's.
I have to go with you.
Win against
I
Delby.
agree.
Delby's
Right,
in
when
between
it gets Delby,
Yeah.
Bosco, going to Bosco on the road on the lights. That's always a tough place to play.
That's really tough.
And put a loss there. Home and senior night.
Paramus Catholic should be a win.
Paramus Catholic should be a
Seton
win,
Hall,
yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go 5-4 for my record. I'm gonna say, right around 500, a little bit above 500. They'll make the playoffs, and again, in the playoffs, anything can happen in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So I'm going 5-4. Hopefully, they get a good seat out of it.
I'm gonna go with Mr. Rod. I've got the same losses: St. Joe's again, Bergen Catholic, and Bosco. I think that 5-4 is respectable.
Yeah.
I think for this tough conference,
It's tough.
starting
It's tough.
first year quarterback,
Yeah.
I think that's appropriate. And then, like you said, I think it happened in the playoffs.
Yeah. I mean, I have them almost the exact same. I just have their record flipped. I think they're
Oh,
gonna go
come on,
4 and
Ben.
5.
Come
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Come on.
Ben.
Oh yeah.
I don't like
I'm
that,
sorry.
man. I don't like
I'm sorry.
that at all.
Little pessimistic. 4 and 5, still very respectable given the schedule. I think it's going to be the toughest year Prep has had in quite some time. I think obviously St. Joe's Prep. I don't think they can hang.
Yeah.
DePaul is I'm extremely 50-50 on, but they're ranked number 4 in the state for a reason. Like they
have a good
they're-
offense. They have a good
They're
offense.
ranked number 4 in the entire state for a reason, and I don't think we can hang with them.
I think we can.
I think
We
I think
we
we
can
can.
hang, but I'm so 50-50
especially
on it.
if we think they're going to lose to St. Joe's Philly. I think they're going to come out and ready
Yeah.
to play the butts off.
Yeah,
against the ball.
that is the most 50-50 game I have on the entire schedule. I think again it's either going to be 4 and 5 or 5 and 4. I think St. Joe's Montvale they can't really. I mean I think they can hang, but probably until the middle of the third quarter, and then everything's going to go off the rails. Bosco Bergen, I think we know what's going to happen there, unfortunately, but I think Del Barton should be a very good win. Paramus Catholic should be a good win. Seton Hall Prep, I want it to be convincing. It's the last game. And they're going to the playoffs.
Yeah, if we get that momentum going to playoffs, a good win against Seton Hall. Yeah.
Who knows?
I like
Who
that.
knows what happens in the playoffs? Who knows?
Who knows?
All right. Well, are you ready for it?
Here we go.
Here we
Jackson.
go.
All right.
I'll go week by week. So
All right.
I think we beat Creekside.
Okay.
Again, I mean, we've talked about we just don't know that much about them, but still, I think we can beat them. I think it's a winnable game.
Yeah.
Then I think we'll lose to St. Joe's Prep.
Yep, fair.
That's just, I think that's a given.
Yeah.
Listen, nothing is given.
Nothing's a given,
Nothing's
but
a given,
it's
so,
more
yeah.
it's more of like a all right.
Yeah.
We know what they are.
Yeah.
And like you said, they're playing a team like IMG. Like
Yeah.
if you're playing a team like IMG, you're on an IMG level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then I think we beat DePaul. I know it's 50-50, but I think we'll get the edge. I think it'll be a very close game. I think it'll come down to that last possession.
2-1. Okay.
2-1. Then we'll beat Delby.
Ooh,
We'll be
okay.
3-1.
3-1. I like that. I like that. I like
Hot
that.
start.
We're gonna start
I like
off
that.
hot. We're gonna start
That's a
off
good
hot.
start right there. I like that. I like that.
Then I think we'll lose to St. Joe's Montville.
Yeah.
We almost lost to them last year. We just had a historic comeback. It would be really hard to repeat that again. I would love it, obviously.
I'll still a great comeback.
It's just going to be
Oh my
hard.
God.
With the transfer of the quarterback, I think we beat Bosco.
Spicy.
I like that. I like that.
I broke
I
the
really think
news
we
to you
can.
guys this morning. I broke the news to you guys this morning.
Up until this morning when he was like,
Yeah.
quarterback transfer. All right, we're beating Bosco now.
Wow.
All right.
So what are we? We're 4-2 now.
4-2.
We'll beat Paramus.
Okay, it's 5-2.
5-2.
Then I think we'll drop to Bergen. I mean
Okay.
Bergen's Bergen, but then again, it could go either way.
Senior day.
It's senior day. There could be some spark, and I think we'll beat Seton Hall. So I think we'll
Wow.
be 6-3.
right.
With a
6-3.
possible 7-2.
That's a record.
What?
That's a good
I
record.
like that. I dig.
like that.
I dig. Well, you heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. We got football right around the corner Saturday afternoon from Morehouse College in Georgia. I want to thank you all once again for listening to another episode of the State of Marauders podcast. Hopefully be back on Sunday talk about post-game reactions. Hopefully we talk about a prep victory.
Make sure to tune in on Saturday.
Tune in on Saturday as well. Yeah, tune in on Saturday. We'll have the link for that for our watch party.
yeah.
Starting with our pregame show.
With who?
With myself and Justin Penik, of
Oh,
course,
yeah.
the GOATs.
Yeah, Talkin Giants.
And hopefully by the next episode, we'll preview the matchup against St. Joe's Philly. That's going to be a fun matchup on the road in Delaware. So thank you all again for listening. And as always, let's go prep.
Let's go.
B-R-E-D,